I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, Velocities in Music. Today, we're going to try and review, to the best of our abilities, Kate Bush's new album, 50 Words for Snow. This is a record that is getting extreme hype, extreme rave reviews, and honestly, I think for good reason.
Yeah.
She's really doing something, I don't want to say different, because it's just for... As Kate Bush, as an artist, you know, she's been out for several decades making lots of, you know, critically acclaimed music. And now for her to come out in 2011, it's the first album of hers in a number of years.
Well, she came out with Director's Cut, but that was really just a compilation kind of stuff. Remastered, revisited songs. Right. So. But
50 Words for Snow, you know, it's 65 minutes in length. It's you know, 50 Words for Snow, as a title, kind of, it kind of captures the mood and essence of the album. She uses a lot of, it almost sounds like grand piano, and it's just her playing in like an empty auditorium or something, you know, very atmospheric, and her vocals, and it captures the mood of winter.
Perfectly.
If you, you know, our viewers, you know, we got a lot of people in New York and Iowa and, you know, the Midwest watching these. If you're in a state that has lots of snow, you'll understand perfectly what we mean by wintry mood. This album, you know, has 7 tracks on it. The average track length is easily around 8 minutes plus. You know, there's a couple songs that get above 10. But it's just these big movements. I look at these songs more as movements than anything else.
They're more classically composed than you know, the pop kind of structured songs that you might hear from some of Kate Bush's older work. And so it's a really cool move, and I mean, it almost captures winter so perfectly, almost to a fault, because you can't imagine anyone listening to this if it's not November through like February.
To the Black Keys, right?
Yeah, exactly.
but yeah, this to me, in my mind, if you're really going to enjoy a work like this is not an accessible album. These songs are not catchy at all. There's relatively no hooks. This is something that you have to experience on a personal level. If you're going for, like, if it's snowing outside and you go for a walk out in the snow, you know, all bundled up, scarf, mittens, everything, and you have your headphones in, you're just by yourself, that's when you listen to this album.
And that's when it's going to have the greatest impact.
Yeah, and that's when you'll think, wow, she's genius, this is great stuff. You know, if you're listening to it in passing or in a busy, bright setting, it's going to have less of an effect. The mood she captures here is very, very specific. That's something I respect very much. And another thing I noticed about kind of the songs is, while they are, you know, this meandering song structures where she just kind of goes on and builds in and then lets it, you know, the song decompose. And it's all piano and very classical sounding, almost like something you'd hear on like a George Winston record. You know, like what the one with Thanksgiving on it and the Carol of the Bells and everything. You know, just classic piano. But she also influences, you know, she also allows like jazz influences to come out. You can hear these little jazz pieces and other instruments work in. And
the kind of jazzy drum parts on here.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But everything's very real sounding. You know, reverbed out. Yeah, I mean, you look at the genres that she's pulling from, and it's rarely pop. It's so much more classical, opera, jazz, and so for this album to be getting the attention that it is, I love. And honestly, I think, you know, I'm going to give this a good score, but I think I'm actually going to give it an even higher score than what represents how much I like it, just because I have so much respect for the composition of it, the general sound, the ability to capture the mood, and that's pretty much it. I mean, this is a difficult piece of work to pull off. Plus, I mean, just the theming and the timing that it's coming out is just really perfect.
Yeah, the whole production of the whole thing is really well done. One thing I do want to say is, while these tracks, and while she does such a good job of allowing these tracks to like grow and breathe on their own, and the extended plays are, I think an artist that can do extended track lengths well that is the mark of just a truly talented songwriter. And while this is a completely different style of music than what we normally would refer to when we're talking about songwriting, there's still that element there of where she has to, you know, start a track at some point and end a track at some point. Really, the first 3 tracks, which is half the album in length, more than half the album in length, really kind of all are of the same subset of songs, where she doesn't really change any of the sound until later on in the album. But what I'm trying to say is that these songs get a little long at times. She could have done a little bit to clean it up. I feel like
do a little more with them.
Yeah,
at times.
I feel like they kind of at some point, I'll find myself going, "Wow, I wish I'm just we're still in this track," and but that's like 8 or 9 minutes into it. So
yeah, so it's still
right.
quite an accomplishment.
Right. I still think she does a good job of letting the song come out. It's just that I feel like, the 65-minute track length, she could have made the same statement in 55 minutes. That's all I guess that was one of the very few criticisms I could identify with this. But yeah, I agree with you. I think that this is such an achievement that it has to be, just you have to recognize it. However, as far as just the general inaccessibility of it, I don't think I'll be able to come back to this a whole lot.
No.
Except for like in the next few weeks of winter. Other
Yeah.
than that, we're gonna have passed that time. But and then we get to the track 6, 50 Words for Snow, where she just is naming they're naming off all the words.
Funny coming off of Vine Comedy's Promenade we reviewed a few months ago with the song The Book Lovers.
Yeah,
and
it's very similar.
It's so much like that. Yeah.
And I wonder if there's any cross influences there.
Maybe. Who knows?
Where are you sitting with this?
I'm gonna go 76.
Cool. I'm right with you. I'm at 77. I did like this a lot. I totally, like we've said now, I respect the crap out of this album. I think that this is just a really neat work of art. Judging from all the rave reviews it's getting, it makes sense why it's getting such high scores. And I could see this growing on me over time, if I were to continue to listen to it. So hopefully that's what happens. What did you guys think about 50 Words for Snow? Let us know at www.velocitiesandmusic.com or youtube.com/velocitiesandmusic. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, moving music critique forward.